What do you think of when you hear names of famous athletes such as Alex Rodriguez, Justin Gatlin, Lance Armstrong, and Maren Jones? No matter what you think of, there is one thing that all these athletes have in common. They have all been busted for using illegal substances to help improve their athletic game. The battle against performance-enhancing drugs is becoming harder and harder to combat, and the question has risen to new heights. Should these drugs be legal for professional athletes? Performance-enhancing drugs should remain illegal for professional athletes. This is important because the use of performance-enhancing drugs has huge impacts on the games and the sports we all love to watch. I have done extensive research on both sides of the argument and am well informed on the effects of performance-enhancing drugs. They should be illegal because they destroy the integrity of sports, are cheating, and pose serious health risk for athletes. With that being said, let's discuss what these drugs will do to our sports. Performance-enhancing drugs ruin the integrity of sports. In 2015, Michael Rosenberger, a writer for Sports Illustrated, wrote an article published by Gale Group titled "Performance-Enhancing Drugs Should Not Be Legalized." In his article, he said, "Elite spectator sports are supposed to be about the very best the humans can do, not the best drugs we can create." I agree with Rosenberger. Sports should measure one's own abilities, not what an athlete can do with the help of drugs. Tom Murray, in his article, "Doping Should Be Banned," published in 2014 by Gale Group, states, "Sports exhibit the dedication each individual shows in perfecting his or her natural talent. The rules against doping remind us what's valuable about sports. They help us remember why we play. Sports should measure the ability of an athlete in their natural state without the help of drugs. Athletes who take performance-enhancing drugs are relying on something other than themselves, which is wrong. Not only do these drugs take away from seeing an athlete's natural ability, it also violates the spirit of sports. According to WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency guidelines found in Michael Lavin's article titled "The Dangers of Professional Sports Are Comparable to That of Performance-Enhancing Drugs," published in 2015 by Gale Group. The spirit of sports is, by definition, the celebration of the human spirit, body, and mind, and is characterized by the following values: health, excellence in performance, character, education, teamwork, respect for rules and laws, and many other valuables. Doping is fundamentally contrary to the spirit of sports. WADA also states, the spirit of sports means competing fairly and performing to the best of your ability, to the pursuit of excellence with honor. Using these drugs is not competing fairly, and it does not follow the WADA guidelines that is outlined in the spirit of sports. Competition should not be taken to the extent of using drugs to help win. Performance-enhancing drugs not only take away from the honors of sports, but they also are wrong. They should remain illegal because it is simply cheating and can affect innocent people. By definition found in an article by Cengage Learning titled "Drugs and Athletes," published in 2014 by Gale Group, performance-enhancing drugs are chemicals that can improve a person's strength, endurance, or recovery in a vigorous exercise. These performance-enhancing drugs can fall into a variety of categories, from stimulants, antibiotics, steroids, and peptides. In 1999, an international conference formed to address these drugs. The conference created an anti-doping code that states performance-enhancing drugs are cheating, and the consequences is a 2-year suspension. In this article, a biology professor in England and former Olympic runner named John Wigton believes performance-enhancing drugs does indeed violate the sportsmanship. He states, "Using chemicals to do what your body isn't capable of doing is cheating, but it is a form of cheating that is hidden, and therefore it is a nasty form of cheating." I agree with Wheaton. Using these drugs is cheating, and we must continue to enforce the consequences and not enable those to cheat and get ahead. Cheating by using drugs affects all people involved. Cengage Learning believes cheating by using performance-enhancing drugs creates pressure for other professional athletes that they want to compete without drugs. They feel that in order to stay competitive, they must take PEDs. This is most certainly true. Using PEDs creates pressure for athletes who want to compete cleanly. These drugs should remain illegal to protect them. Not only does cheating affect other professional athletes, it also sets a bad example for young athletes. Cheating by using performance-enhancing drugs creates an unfair advantage against clean athletes and influences innocent children. As if cheating and influencing young adults is not negative enough, is not enough reason to keep performance-enhancing drugs illegal, there is one more effect that outweighs them all. Using performance-enhancing drugs has serious health consequences. Different performance-enhancing drugs can pose a huge physical toll on the human body. According to Cengage Learning, stimulants can cause high blood pressure, change in heart rate rhythm, anxiety, and chemical addiction. Steroids can cause side effects such as acne, heart disease, stroke, liver damage, and cancer. They can also alter one's mood and create an intense, aggressive behavior. Another performance-enhancing drug is the human growth hormone, which is linked to arthritis, diabetes, and cancer. It may also have links to excessive growth and acromegaly. People with this disease often die before the age of 40. Making sure an athlete is healthy should be the number one priority, and the legalization of PEDs is the exact opposite of protecting the athlete. These drugs pose serious health risks, and it is important that they remain illegal, and they not encourage athletes to use them by making them legal. Performance-enhancing drugs are very harmful to athletes who take them and should remain illegal. But there are many people who feel differently about them. Many people argue performance-enhancing drugs should be legalized. They say this because it would levelize the playing field. An article titled Performance-Enhancing Drugs Should Be Allowed in the Olympics, written in 2016 by Ian Stedman, published by Gale Group, states, performance-enhancing drugs are the great levelizer, the tool for athletes to bridge the unfair natural gap. Performance-enhancing drugs are not the great leveler. Yes, they do improve athletic performance, but they do not change the fact that some people have simply more natural ability than others. Having natural talent is not unfair. Cheating by using performance-enhancing drugs is what is unfair. Finally, Stedman also argues that doping rules should be removed because using performance-enhancing drugs does not violate the spirit of sports, because athletes already use many different techniques such as nutrition and clothing to enhance their performance. This is untrue. There is a huge difference between using banned drugs and eating healthy to increase one's maximum performance. Performance-enhancing drugs violates the spirit of sports and takes away from the joy of competition. Hopefully this has given you enough information to make an educated choice to not support performance-enhancing drugs. In conclusion, performance-enhancing drugs are against the integrity of competition. It is cheating to use them, and they have serious health risk. They should remain illegal. The list of athletes who use performance-enhancing drugs is long enough. Imagine how long the list would be if we made them legal. This is not what the sports world needs.